I don't want you to start a new business until you have a full understanding of what it takes to win. And look, I'm a big advocate of people becoming business owners and entrepreneurs because it's one of the fastest paths toward generating wealth. But I want you to win. So today I have 10 things I want you to have in place before you become an entrepreneur. And these things apply whether you are starting a business from scratch or whether you're buying an existing business. Also, if you are already an entrepreneur, then help other people out. Write a comment down below and tell people what you think they need to have in place before they start a business. All right, let's get started with number 1. Don't start a business if you don't have any financial security. Because the truth is, okay, business is hard and there is no guarantee that you will succeed. And so you don't want to risk your life savings on a potential startup idea. Instead, have your personal finances together, right? Like have an emergency fund of 6 to 12 months of expenses, build up your credit scores, and have some streams of income coming in at least until your business is profitable enough to take care of you. And I think you should strive to build up your personal finances to the point where the money that you're investing into a business is money that you can afford to lose. Now, you may know that I personally started my first business with less than $500, but here's the thing, okay? I was 20 years old, I still lived at my parents' house, I had no car payment on my car, and I had $10,000 in cash. So for my particular circumstances, I had financial security. And so it's going to look a little bit different for everyone depending on if you're single, how old you are, if you're married, if you have kids, and so on. All right, number 2, don't start a business if you are too optimistic. I think it's the people that are super optimistic and they just think that, oh, this is going to be easy. I'm gonna be a billionaire in the next 5 years, no problem. But listen, if you've never started a company before, then you have no idea what is headed your way. And I'm telling you, you're going to run into some difficult times. So instead, I think you need to prepare yourself and think about some worst case scenarios. That way, when reality hits and you get punched in the face, business-wise, instead of you getting knocked out, you can absorb that hit and you're ready to punch back. And this is why I recommend to my clients and to my viewers to start small. Okay, take baby steps. Focus on just making your first $100,000 in revenue, then your next $250,000 in revenue, and then continue to double it from there. Because I want you to avoid getting too excited about an idea that you end up making a super big investment thinking that you're going to make millions of dollars, but then it ends up becoming a complete failure. So set realistic goals and plan for failures. Now, moving on to number 3, don't start a business if... Hold on, wait a minute. Where are my manners? If you're new here, let me briefly introduce myself. Hey there, I'm Sean, a self-made millionaire and entrepreneur, and right now I'm on a mission to help people start, fund, and grow their business. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, do me a favor, like and subscribe to my channel. It really does help me out. And if you do, tell me in the comment section below so that I can personally reply to thank you. All right, for real. Number 3, don't start a business if you don't know the industry. So if you're looking to start or buy a business for the first time, I have 2 big things for you. Number 1, get into an industry or a market that you know very well. So if you're working for a company right now and you're really good at what you do, like you understand how the business works and how the customers and the clients think, well then maybe it's time for you to start thinking about starting that same type of company that you work for, but on a smaller scale. For example, maybe you work for a large hospitality company that has thousands of restaurants. Well, maybe a good business idea for you would be to buy a small local restaurant or join a restaurant franchise. Now, if you really don't know the industry or a business very well, then instead you can look at specific skills that you've developed over the years and then see what type of businesses require those same skill sets. For example, if you've been a software developer for many years, then maybe you want to consider developing your own software or your own application. Now, if you can't think of any industries that you know or any specific skill sets that apply to you, then you can consider number 2, start a business that is easy to understand. Because not every company you own needs to be super innovative or super unique. In fact, simple business models tend to have very high success rates. That's businesses like vending machines and cleaning services and residential rental property and car washes and laundromats and so on, because for the most part, anyone can understand and run these type of companies without needing an extreme amount of experience or specific skills. All right, closely following the last point is number 4, don't start a business if you don't love the industry. Because if you're not passionate for what you're doing, you're going to quickly find out that, okay, just because you started the company doesn't mean that you can't hate your job, like you can't hate the business that you started. And that's going to show up when you are interacting with your team and your employees, or when you're interacting with your customers and your clients, or paying attention to your competitors and market changes and so on. Ultimately, your lack of interest will end up being the demise of your own company. And look, even I have to admit that I started to hate certain things in one of my businesses, at least until I started to outsource or hire out some of those tasks. So do something you love. Life is too short otherwise, right? All right, moving on to number 5, don't start a business if you didn't do the research. Even if you know the industry, you still got to look at stuff like, okay, who are your competitors and what is the market trends and how much money are you going to need to invest into this business and what purchases or assets do you need to acquire? Because as the old saying goes, come on, Sean, don't say it. I've got to do it. No, Sean, you don't. If you fail to plan, then you're planning to fail. Yes, so don't start a business, like literally register your company until you have created a business plan. This is where you're going to do a thorough analysis of the business opportunity. And having a business plan can also help you with securing funding or bringing on any potential investors, because otherwise, no one's going to trust you if you haven't done the research. Now, if you have no idea where to start with building your business plan, then what I like to do is recommend a website called lawdepot.com, because they have tons of free templates, including business plan templates that walk you through step by step everything that should be included. I'll link to their website down in the description below. All right, number 6, don't start a business if you don't know how to pitch or sell. So look, when you have a business, you are always pitching. Okay, you're pitching to your new partners a new business strategy. You are pitching to your customers about why they should spend money with you. You are pitching to candidates or potential team members about why they should work for you. And of course, you're going to be pitching to potential investors. So it's going to be important that you hone in on developing these skills. Now, you don't necessarily have to master pitching or sales before you start your business, but I brought this up right now because, okay, when you make a pitch, you open yourself up to rejection, and that scares a lot of people. But guess what? You will get rejected. That's a big part of business. So that's something you're going to want to make sure you deal with before you start a business. Now, I have an entire video where I break down how to pitch your business in 15 steps. So I'll link to that video at the end so you can check it out right after you finish this one. All right, number 7, don't start a business if you don't know how to solve problems. Man, this is probably the most important skill for new entrepreneurs, because look, you're going to face a lot of problems and you're going to need to find solutions to break through certain growth points. Like some problems will leave you stuck at a certain revenue level. Like right now, one of my companies is stuck at $3 million. But anyway, unfortunately, many people fail because they focus too much on the problem for too long. Hey Sean, every time I close my eyes, it gets dark. But instead of focusing on the problem, think about solutions. Personally, I'm addicted to thinking about solutions. I have a little whiteboard and I'll pace around for hours just thinking about ways to overcome different problems. But if that's not your forte, then at least you should be humble enough to ask and pay people for their help and their experience. Also, stay away from people who only want to join your pity party and talk about the problems as well. I've instilled a culture at my company that if anyone tells me about a problem, the next sentence better be about a potential solution, because I'm no longer a problem-taking machine. Moving along to number 8, don't start a business if you don't want to sacrifice. Look, The stories are true, okay? You're going to need to sacrifice if you want to become a successful entrepreneur. Now, do I need to tell you what that looks like? You probably know, but I'll tell you anyway. Okay, you're gonna need to give up stuff like working a standard 9 to 5 or 8-hour day, or maybe hanging out every weekend, or staying up all night and watching TV and movies. You get it, right? Now, I'll admit when it comes to sacrifices, the two hardest ones are number one, sacrificing quality time with family, because you really never know how much quality time you have with them left. And I would definitely encourage that when you do spend time with family, make it quality time. Put away your phone, put away the business talk, and really try to enjoy it. The second hardest thing to sacrifice is money, because there definitely will be other opportunities that pop up on your journey to building your business. And sometimes it's hard to say no. Like randomly, a recruiter may hit you up and say, I have a 6-figure job opportunity you can't turn down. Or your friend may hit you up and say, I have a new exciting business idea. And look, I don't know what it could be, but I do know other opportunities will arise. And I love this Bruce Lee quote that says, the successful warrior is an average man with laser focus. So if you're somebody who likes to jump at every new opportunity, go ahead and start mentally preparing yourself to remain focused. Okay, number 9, don't start a business if you don't want to fail. Yes, your friends and your family are watching. Your spouse and your kids are watching, and you don't want to be an embarrassment. I get it, but look, you've got to get over it. Every entrepreneur, heck, every successful person that I can think of has a failure story. There's going to be challenges. There's going to be days where you feel like giving up. So go ahead and mentally prepare for it right now. And when it comes to the most important people in your life, I would even have a conversation with them and say, you know, I'm starting this new business and I don't know what the outcome is going to be, but I do know I'm going to have a lot of challenges and face potential failure, and any support you can give, I would really appreciate. And look, this conversation isn't even for the person that you're talking to, but it's really for you. It's giving yourself the permission to fail and make mistakes and learn and grow and succeed. Or you could just be silent and not care what anyone else thinks. Okay, number 10, don't start a business if you don't like change. Hey, successful entrepreneurs that last decades are always adapting. They're always evaluating, okay, where are things right now and where are things going next? And if you're paying attention to the world right now, then you see us transitioning to things like artificial intelligence and virtual and augmented reality and new blockchain technologies and no code development and so on. So you've got to keep up. Now, I'm not saying that you need to start a business in one of these areas, but you should be aware that other companies in your space may be adopting these new innovations, and that may put them in a position to start undercutting your prices or increase their value propositions and steal more market share. And I say this because, okay, once you perfect a service or your product, once you put in a system, once you hire employees and revenues and profits look good, then you want to sit back and relax. I see this with my team and my employees. You know, they get super comfortable and then I'm like, out of nowhere, guys, we've got to figure out TikTok. Or guys, we've got to figure out if we can use this new AI to be more efficient. And they hate it. They're like, but Sean, we just learned this whole new system. Sorry, we got to change it. So prepare yourself now. If you want to get in business, that you're going to have to make changes, you're going to have to pivot to different business strategies and so on, because it's very important to your long-term success. Now, here's a bonus tip that I was going to leave off the list, but I think is worth noting, which is be cautious before starting a business if you hate numbers. Because, okay, there's a saying I heard a lot in college, which is accounting is the language of business. In other words, when you can reasonably understand your income statements, your cash flow statements, and your balance sheets, then you're going to be able to make better business decisions. Now, that being said, if you're someone who hates running numbers, then I have 2 things. Number 1, consider a business partner who does love the numbers. Or number 2, consider working with an accountant who can break things down for you so you and your company don't end up in a bad position financially, which by the way is one of the biggest reasons for startup failures. All right, if you made it to the end and you checked off all of these, then congratulations. I think you're ready to start a new business. Coming up next, I have 2 more videos that I mentioned I will link at the end, so check those out if you haven't already, and I'll see you over there.